So I might make Sundays reaction days because like low key, I was sitting here, I was about to go to the gym in like a couple of seconds, right? And I was like, oh damn, let me go see my little videos or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, Ari posted. Now if you don't know who he is, let me show you real quick who this is, give you a brief little summary. If you're like a Pokemon fan game ROM hack guy, then you more than likely know who Ari is. I'm not following him on this account. I'm subscribed on my other account. I was editing on something else and you know, whatever. Listen. He covers a whole bunch of fan games and ROM hacks in a more video expose kind of format versus the playthrough content you might be used to from me or like a Hero Voltsy or like a Hullum Callum, or you know, we do playthroughs. He does like a more spoiler-free review and or like summary of the games. That's why his videos are short, and he'll do like these little compilations where like he will like give you these are the best so and so, these are so and so. Like he'll list like games you can go check out. And what a lot of people do is they will watch the videos and they're like, you know, they'll skip this. But I actually thoroughly enjoy listening, you know, to what he has to say because he's also a fan game developer. If you don't know, this is the Pokemon creator of Pokemon Vanguard, one of the best Pokemon fan games that are coming out. I think the next update is the last one, or it's the one after that. I'm not sure. I don't know what the plans are. I do know the next update is coming out though. We will be there for that, obviously, right? We will be there for that. Would it be too egotistical to ask him to do a review on his own thing? Yo, real talk, that might be a good idea. I don't know, but I saw this and I was like, I forgot all about the DS ROM hacks because for the most part, the games are like really new. Like the scene is really new. So we're gonna be watching that. Make sure you all go check out the original video in the description section below. Make sure you leave a like. Always leave a like. Support your content creators. And let's get into the video. Take the show.
ROM hacking has almost always had a major focus on the GBA or third generation of games.
That's true.
With new advancements each year that most of us would have previously thought impossible.
That's true.
But even with all this progress, many fans have always had a desire.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Gaia looks so good, bro. I don't know what it is. Gaia, it may be like a 10-year-old ROM hack, but Gaia looks so good. It's just something about it, man. My fault.
The scene to move more towards the fourth generation. So in today's video, I've decided to showcase the best NDS or Generation 4 ROM hacks to sort of give some insight on just how far that side of the scene has come, or even just give you something new to play.
It's really young.
Yes, outside of the honorable mentions, all of the hacks mentioned in this video are completed in the sense that they can be played from start to finish. So without further ado, my name is Ari, and let's get started.
Let's go.
Let's start off strong with a ROM hack called Pokemon Garbage Gold. Released in 2023, this was the first Generation 4 decomp hack, meaning that a lot of features previously not possible have been added to the game. An example would be both the 5th and 6th generations of Pokemon and even Mega Evolution. But as exciting as those are, how does this hack adapt and use them to create an original experience?
I remember somebody had posted this on like on Twitter. Not this game, but like them having Mega Evolutions on Twitter. And I was sitting here and I was like, yo, this is kind of tough. That's kind of tough. But I never saw it in like motion. So him having like gameplay is really important. Like footage is really important. That is hard. That is hard as hell, dude.
Well, starting with the story, this isn't the Johto you remember, as it, alongside Kanto, has been drastically disordered due to a war between the two regions.
Okay,
this
that's cliche.
Caused many strong Pokemon to vanish, item supplies to dry up,
Sneeze,
and of course
what?
the entire overworld to look completely different. Your goal as the protagonist will be to travel across the world and uncover the secrets of how the war began in the first place. The region and story were easily the highlight of this hack. Not only are they now put together using a mix of 4th and 5th generation tiles, but many of them are assembled as gauntlets, which will put you against the series of trainers without the ability to just run right back to the Pokemon Center. This added a second tier of difficulty that didn't bring about any frustration or need to rearrange my entire team for a single battle. Like I mentioned before though, many of this region's strong Pokemon have completely vanished. A plot point that plays...
Okay, wait, you say that... saying that with like a what was that, a Beldam or a Matang or something like that, like 2 seconds ago, bro. Like right here.
This
with
added a second layer of difficulty that didn't bring about any frustration or a need to rearrange my entire
with a Rufflet
team for
too.
a single battle. Like I mentioned before though, many of this region's strong Pokemon have completely vanished.
Do these Pokemon just not evolve? Is Trevor not a strong Pokemon, y'all?
A plot point that plays into
What
the
the
game's
hell?
primary
Am I
gimmick,
tripping?
which is that all of your available options aren't very good. This is a design philosophy I feel quite mixed about.
Do they just not
Because
evolve?
On one hand, I like the idea of having to find creative
They must not
ways
evolve.
to use those weaker Pokemon against much stronger ones. However, never receiving that reward of eventually acquiring those much stronger Pokemon was a little disappointing.
Did he show the levels? I
Even
feel like
with
I
those
missed that.
setbacks, there are at least a plethora of new moves that'll
Oh, this
allow
is like
those weaker
that's early. That's
Pokemon
early
to scale
footage.
a bit better into the late game. Finally, Garbage Gold does include some quality of life features to make your experience a lot smoother. This includes optional level caps, infinite rare candies, instant text,
Okay.
and tons of free heals on many of the longer routes. So
Okay.
if the weaker Pokemon gimmick doesn't bother you, then I highly suggest giving this hack a try. But by the same creator is Pokemon Mythic Silver. Unlike the last hack though, you won't be faced with the inability to use anything but weaker Pokemon. Instead, you'll be met with the exact opposite.
Hold
as
on.
Mythic Silver's primary gimmick is an available roster of only legendary, mythical, and even Ultra Beast Pokemon.
That Pheromosa
Similarly to
sprite is
Garbage Gold,
hard.
You will find yourself in a Johto
Okay.
region that's been drastically modified, with new routes, towns, dungeons, you name it, to the point where it's hard to even call it the Johto region anymore. Not in a bad way, but definitely don't go into it expecting a Generation 2 style adventure. As for the story, you'll have a completely new plot with
This is like a whole new game. Like he said, Generation 2. This don't look like outside of the, like some of the overall sprites. This is like a 5th gen.
dozens of new events featuring returning characters. The plot wasn't bad, but I definitely think it was a lot weaker than Garbage Gold's. Finally though, you can expect a lot of the quality of life changes from Garbage Gold to be present in this hack as well, including optional level caps and infinite rare candies. So while these hacks are very imperfect from both a gameplay and narrative perspective, they both offer a fun and unique experience that does a great job of showcasing the progress that's been made in the Generation 4 ROM hacking scene. Now, as
That's
cool
cool.
and even crazy as
That's
those hacks
cool.
might have sounded, perhaps you might be looking for a bit more of a Vanilla Plus experience, rather than
Renegade
a complete
Platinum. Is this Renegade
overhaul
Platinum?
of an entire game. So let me introduce you to a hack called Platinum Unlocked. The goal of this project was basically to unlock all of the restrictions set in place by the official game. This includes replacing trait evolutions by level or item.
I should have known it wasn't Renegade Platinum because the battle backgrounds are not the same. I'm such an idiot, bruh.
The removal of weekday-based events, and even wild encounters that you normally have to insert a GBA game to access, now just appearing normally.
Okay.
This, alongside some other wild encounter changes, allows you to access every Pokemon in a balanced and even legally transferable way. But of course, the project goes much further beyond that with its new features. And the first one I'm sure most of you already noticed was brand new
battle backgrounds, yeah.
Accompanied by alternating Pokemon sprites from Heart Gold and Soul Silver, your Pokemon battles will feel a lot more special than they normally would in a vanilla environment.
I was gonna say these already look like these look different. I thought this was like him just shuffling through like gameplay footage or whatever. When like the first time, which is why I never really noticed like the battle backgrounds, because the battle backgrounds are from like regular Pokemon fan games, right? So I just thought like he was just like shuffling through footage, but no, like that's inside the game. That's already a welcome change anyway, because the battles look different. The same way how the maps in the last 2 ROM hacks are like using 5th gen tile sets. We've come a long way. Old DS ROM hacks used to just be Drayano games. That's I promise you that was like the end. Like that was the end of it.
This consists of faster HP bars, reusable TMs, HMs working without being taught, and most importantly, a portable PC.
Beautiful.
This item not only lets you access your storage, but also heal your team, relearn moves, and even fast travel to any town or city you've already been to. On top of that, grinding is also no longer necessary, as every gym building now has an NPC that can be battled an infinite number of times for easy EXP. Finally, this hack even comes with some changes to many existing trainers' Pokemon rosters. This can be as small as just accounting for the unlocked encounters, or even completely updated teams for gym leaders and rivals. But don't worry, it's not a difficulty level most enhancement hacks will offer you, rather just one that's slightly harder than the mainline games. So if you want a Vanilla Plus experience that doesn't toss insane changes at you left and right, then Platinum Unlocked should definitely be your go-to.
That's
If
cool.
you're looking for something identical to that for the Johto region though, then you might be interested in Soothing Silver. I'll immediately start by saying that this hack doesn't provide the same level of visual changes as the last does, but I still think it's the best option for a Vanilla Plus Soul Silver hack. Soothing Silver is a quality of life hack that aims to add more variety and a bit more difficulty without ruining the feeling of the original game. The most obvious way it accomplishes that is by increasing the variety of Pokemon for each area. Not to an insane extent like you'd find in National Dex hacks, but every Pokemon from the first 2 generations, and even some Alolan forms, will be catchable before the first league.
Okay, I gotta say that's always a welcome change, because I remember, like, y'all know I always bring up this up. But I remember when, I think it's Pokemon, what Crystal ROM hack am I thinking of? I played it like 3 times on this channel before, but it's like, it's using the same like custom Fire Red engine, and it is, I want to say, one of the newer ones. I forgot what it's called, but they changed the story to the point where, like, I always think in my mind that, like, when you fight one of the Team Rocket grunts, he's gonna have an Alolan Muck, but he doesn't have it. And I'd be so confused. I'm like, why don't you have an Alolan Muck? Why does he not have this? Why does he not have this? And I always think to myself, like, you know, we should have, more games should have the modern editions of these Pokemon. Like, a Alolan Diglett would be dope. A Alolan Muck would be dope. Especially since we're so far off from having, like, all new original NDS games. We're not that far off, but we're still a ways away before we start, like, replicating, like, a Pokemon Odyssey in a DS game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the Light Platinum guy is still working on it. I think he is. I don't know if he is or not. Oh, I don't know, actually. Whoa. But, like, I think that, you know, if you're going to be making these type of games, you should be, like, you know, trying to make these more, like, modern, which this is doing. Literally what I've been asking for. I actually might play this on my own, low-key. I might touch this on my own.
Quality of life, you'll have access to infinite TMs, an earlier EXP share, and even trainers that can be infinitely battled, where the GTS used to be. A lot of evolutions have also been made a lot easier to acquire, by not just removing trade restrictions, but also evolution stones being handed out a lot earlier.
That's
Finally,
cool.
the overall difficulty of the game has been increased, but not to the extent you'd find in something like Radical Red or even Storm Silver. Instead, gym leaders and other rivals will just have teams that don't feel incredibly easy to deal with. Plus, you'll even have some new rivals and battle-focused events during your main adventure, filling in a lot of the game's NT gaps and just giving you more to do in between gym leaders. So while it might not be as impressive as the previous Vanilla Plus hack,
it's definitely passable.
It's a good way to replay the Gen 2 remakes as someone who might not want an overwhelming number of changes. Now, the next
good.
three
That was a good
segments
one.
are admittedly going to be a bit shorter, as they are for hacks I've talked about to a great extent in the past, but obviously still deserve to be here. The first one is Sacred Gold and Storm
come
Silver.
on, come
One
on,
of the biggest
come on.
inspirations for modern difficulty hacks, SGSS takes every Pokemon and every trainer in the Johto region and gives them a fresh coat of paint. So you'll no longer find weak or useless options for your team, and won't feel like you can just mash A through important bosses with power.
I'm so sorry. Did you all know a bit of lore for me, right? I still have never beaten these games in a Nuzlocke. The farthest I've gotten on camera is Misty. That's the farthest I've gotten. These games were at some point were like the hardest games imaginable. Before like Radical Red and all the newer games came out, these were the status quo games. The Renegade Platinums, the Storm Silver, Sacred Golds. These were like, these games are the reason why whenever Drayano decides to come back, the community is stopping. I'm telling you, bro. These are such like important games for just ROM hacking in general, because when you weren't getting like a Pokemon Glazed, a Pokemon Gaia, a Pokemon Light Platinum, or a Pokemon Adventures Red, you were getting a Drayano game, and Drayano would always deliver. Always.
Pokemon. Impressively enough,
does he cover Redux, or is he doing the regular
Pokemon into one game kind of hack? As it also includes some new story events, quality of life features to make your adventure easier, and a post-game that actually rewards you for completing.
Because the black and white games
So despite being released in 2012, it's still probably the
2012
region if you don't.
Damn! My God, hold on, bro. How long ago is that, bro? Hold on, I'm so sorry, y'all. Hold on, bro, because Jesus. I've been doing YouTube for 15 years. This channel, though, I've been on this channel for about like since 2013. This is when this channel was made. But I've been doing YouTube since I want to say like 2011. I guess pursuing YouTube was 2011. I was just a viewer back in like 2009 or 8, maybe 7. Because YouTube used to be like a MySpace clone. Low key. Who remembers that, dude? When YouTube had like the group chats, like there's YouTube streams used to just be you putting a whole bunch of videos in a playlist, letting those playlists play, and then having a whole humongous chat room on the side and having your friends and people like just join or whatever. That was the way back then, bro. My God, dude.
Don't mind a harder base difficulty level. More recent, and by the same creator though, is Renegade Platinum. Now, I've mentioned it in my previous videos that I think Renegade Platinum is arguably the best difficulty hack ever created.
I agree.
Its challenge level always feels consistent and fair throughout the game, and barely ever did I feel the need to completely rearrange my team for a single fight. But alongside increased difficulty, you'll also be met with new boss battles to fill in a lot of the game's empty gaps, and a sizable amount of extra side content to make their Sinnoh region feel a bit more alive. It's gotten to the point where even after 6 years, there still hasn't been a Platinum ROM hack to surpass this one, especially since it's also compatible with a mod that allows Pokemon to follow you in the overworld. Now, for Generation 5 hacks, there are 2 that—
Is that true? You know what? Yeah. I think that Renegade Platinum is the best Platinum ROM hack. I think Platinum Redux would be like top 5. And I think that like, I remember Bloody Platinum used to be like, Bloody Platinum was unfair. Bloody Platinum was like a fake Kaizo game, low key. Renegade Platinum just has it. Like it's a complete balanced game. I like, yeah, Renegade Platinum, yeah.
The same developer over a decade ago. However, with how far the scene has advanced, I do think they have become a bit outdated.
I agree.
Especially compared to this next hack called Blaze Black and Volt White 2 Redux.
Ah, yeah.
Similarly to the 2 I just mentioned, you can expect tons of Pokemon rebalancing, harder boss battles, and even some new story events. But unlike the previous 2, you'll also find dozens of new moves from future generations, and even a difficulty mode selector.
Yeah.
It's easily the best way to replay through the Unova sequels, but if you are looking for a hack to replay through the originals, then I think Blaze Black and Volt White 1 will serve you just fine.
I agree.
This next hack is a brand new one that was actually released as I was working on this video.
Got a new one?
This is Pokemon Heart Gold Generations.
Okay.
A Gen 4 ROM hack that adds Pokemon from up to Scarlet and Violet to the game.
Okay.
Now, it should be first noted that not all of them are present.
Okay.
As due to some technical limitations, only about 830 Pokemon are actually available.
Okay.
But that's still a lot of options, and it'll still barely feel like any are missing, with this probably probably being the most amount of Pokemon to ever be available in a Generation 4 ROM hack. And of course, alongside those new Pokemon, you'll also find many new moves and abilities from future generations. Even more impressively though, is the inclusion of fully functioning Mega Evolution, access to infinite rare candies, and even working level caps. Although you might be wondering, with all those Pokemon, surely this is just another difficulty hack like Radical Red, right? Well, not exactly, as Heart Gold Generations only improves the level curve and modifies gym leaders to have more Johto-themed Pokemon, so the difficulty level will still feel on par with many of the official games. However, I feel it should be mentioned that this hack is much more of a proof of concept rather than a fully fledged enhancement hack. Most trainer teams are completely untouched, and outside of importing modern learn sets, the changes to Pokemon are pretty minimal. On the bright side though, the creator has made this project completely open source, meaning anyone can use it as a base to create their own experiences. So despite how disappointing that might sound to some of you, it's still incredibly impressive and a really big step towards even better Gen 4 ROM hacks to come in the near future.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. Are y'all crazy? Him being able to do that and import all those Pokemon into the game, and then having it being open source means anybody who's more able and or might learn something, might use this as like a concept or a foundation of something. We can get better games this way, because now people can just be like, oh yeah, because remember back in the day when they used to have like those ROM hacks that would come out and they would be like, oh, here's Pokemon something red, and it's Pokemon Fire Red, but it's all the Pokemon from like Platinum or all the Pokemon from like Unova or something like that, and that was the ROM hack. That was the ROM hack, right? This is beautiful for that exact same purpose, where it's like, okay, cool, here's Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver, but you can have the Sword and Shield Pokemons up in there now, and now you can just make it. You can make it harder. You can make it like that's a good foundation. Shout out to the developer for making it open source. But then if he wants to come in and be like, hey, I have an update for y'all, or an update for this, or somebody comes in and helps him, hey, you feel me? That's tough. I like that.
Other than the first two hacks on this list,
let's go.
You might have noticed that not many of them had any massive story changes. However, this next hack does actually have a bit of focus on story changes, and that would be Azure Platinum. Now, while this hack does still have the same story progression as the originals, it's now filled with tons of new events.
Conway? Paul?
You'll have a whole lot more to do on your adventure. It even includes an expanded
Pokemon Azure Platinum download. There we go. There we go. Yeah. If you don't see a part 1, just know I've already beaten this game. Yeah, I'm keeping that. That's being downloaded as we speak. All right, there you go. Yeah. Thank you, Ari. Appreciate you, dog. Thank you. Thank you so much, because man.
Post-game that the creator describes as the Sinnoh equivalent to the Delta episode from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Alright, but as exciting as those story changes are, I'm sure most of you also desire changes to the gameplay as well. Lucky for you, Azure Platinum does come with a lot of significant changes and quality of life features.
Like?
Every trainer you encounter will now possess a completely new team, with more Pokemon and optimal movesets. And obviously with the story changes, that does mean you'll face off against many new bosses approaching you as you work your way to the next town, or even in tournament environments similar to the anime. While that may sound daunting,
he's in this game?
For this to be a casual experience, well, fear not, because I personally found its default difficulty level to be challenging, but not to a ridiculous or even unfair extent. Finally, like a few other hacks on this list, Azure Platinum also includes a portable PC that lets you use use its functions, change the difficulty, enable hard level caps, or even a Nuzlocke mode at any point in the game. You'll also have infinite TMs, access to infinite rare candies, and most HMs feeling almost unnecessary. So if you're looking for a Platinum experience with a lot more story content, then I highly suggest Azure Platinum.
Nah, this is getting touched.
Before we move on to the last hack,
What is this?
I wanted to go over a few honorable mentions.
What is
Projects
that?
aren't exactly near their completion state, but I still feel
What
are
are
worth mentioning.
these?
The first one is Chaos Purple, which labels itself as an enhanced red and blue remake. What that basically means is that they've taken the original Kanto story and given it a lot more content. More importantly though, is the entire overworld being updated to the style of the 5th generation.
Good.
Many changes to existing areas to emphasize what the 3D maps are capable of,
Okay.
and even some new maps as well. Overall, it's a pretty fun hack, but in terms of gameplay, I do think it needs a bit of work with just how identical a lot of the unimportant battles feel to the original games. The next one though
That's fair.
is actually by
That
the same
Chaos Purple, that looked beautiful, bro. That looked good. That looked beautiful. But if it is like a 1-to-1 almost, I guess that's cool. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I understand why it's an honorable mention, but it looked good. Like off appearance, it looked phenomenal. Hopefully the creator, you know, I guess adds a more unique twist to the game, but you know, that's, you know, it looked cool.
creator of the first two hacks in this video, and that's Pokemon Iridium. It's a completely original custom story and region hack with tons of
This
new
looks
features, Pokemon
amazing!
generation, and custom learn sets for many of them. Now, while it is currently just a one gym demo, out of all the new region NDS hacks that have popped up over the years, I think this one has the most potential
Oh my
to be consistently
God!
updated to an eventually completed game, mostly because the creator has about 4 other smaller but finished hacks under their belt. And the last one is Pokemon.
Wait a minute! Pokemon Iridium. That looked crazy, dude. What the hell? Nah, this came out in May? Did I not see this? Hold on. Am I tripping? Hold on. YouTube, hold on. YouTube, Pokemon Iridium. Hold on. I'm tripping. Iridium. I never saw this game. He covered this 2 months ago. Volty didn't cover this. Regent covered this. Yeah, outside of this video from 2 months ago, and then Regent from 2 months ago, nobody else is covered. Why? Why has nobody told me about this game? What the? Dog, this looks beautiful. Like that game looks beautiful, bro. I'm saying, yo, expect a part 1 soon. Maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. You might get one tomorrow. That looked crazy, bro. It's a 1 gym. Who cares? Who cares? I'm in it. Expect the video on this soon, actually. Wow. That's beautiful, bro.
Legacy. This one has been teased over the last few years as a Heart Gold hack that plans to add all 7 Sevi Islands and the entire Hoenn region to the game, making it one of the biggest ROM hacks ever created.
This looks beautiful.
And while the creators are rightfully taking their time, there is actually a playable demo that showcases a faithful recreation of the Sevi Islands with a new story involving Team Rocket. So while it is a bit short, it's still a pretty fun experience. And last but not least is Platinum Redux.
My baby!
Finds itself
Love Platinum Redux. Love Platinum Redux. I love Platinum Redux. That game was so insane. The forms are really good. But I do think that like there is a to my discredit, I did play the hard version of the damn game. There's like 3 versions of Platinum Redux, and I, for some reason, you know, in my mind, I'm like, you know, for YouTube content, let's play the hard version for the game. You know, people like yelling, and I had a great time, but my God, was that like tough. It was a tough time, bro.
Enhancement hack of Pokemon Platinum with the goal of providing a more challenging experience focused on team building and battling. Immediately though, that might just sound identical to Renegade Platinum, but I do promise that this hack does a lot to separate itself. Not only does Redux provide every Pokemon with a variety of stat and learn set changes, but also introduces a ton of new moves to fill in the gaps, and even some new regional forms. Battles will feel especially different from many NDS hacks you've played in the past, and
hard as hell.
Challenges you'll
Hard
face
as hell.
will require you to adapt
Me
to
as
these
hell.
systems in order to succeed. Alongside those Pokemon changes though, also comes some to the type chart. A lot of these, I will admit, I didn't exactly agree with, and on top of all the other things that have been moved around, it felt like a tedious experience trying to understand it. Thankfully, there is actually a separate patch for the hack that does re-enable the canon type chart. Finally, Redux also comes with a dozen quality of life features to make grinding feel completely non-existent. These include a portable PC, instant text, a free move reminder, infinite rare candies and max repels, and EVs being disabled for both the player and the enemy. Overall, I'd say Platinum Redux definitely offers the most amount of gameplay changes compared to any other hack on this list, but it is also a hack I can't exactly recommend if you aren't familiar with the challenge levels offered in most modern difficulty hacks. Reaching the end of this video, I'm sure you might be wondering how this is the most that's currently possible in the NDS ROM hacking scene. Well, the main reason for that is actually pretty simple.
All this is new.
GBA ROM hacks are not only easier to make with their overworlds being built in a fully 2D landscape, but are also just better documented and have way more public resources available. Not to say NDS hacking is nearly as hard as it was 10 years ago, but if you're someone with zero game development experience,
what game is that?
To create a Pokemon ROM hack, the third generation is just way more inviting.
Hold on, chat. I agree with him. To simplify what he's saying, it's still relatively new. I think a lot of people are very, very, very like, is it entitled? I don't think it's entitled. I just think a lot of people don't know. They're ignorant to the fact that, like, you know, a lot of these things are still relatively new. It took a long time for us to get a Pokemon Radical Red or a Pokemon Unbound. Like, Unbound for the longest time was in development. Unbound was like a 2014 or 15 game that disappeared because Skelly went to go work on his own engine for the game. You know what I'm saying? And when he came out, it was like, here you go. Here y'all go. This is the engine. And then we got Radical Red. Then we got Unbound in the same year. You have to like give these things time, because while that was going on, we were getting Gaia, we were getting Glazed, we were getting a whole bunch of Drayano games. And it's like, you have to give these things time. He has a video that I want to watch, but I want to watch it not in a like a reaction type of like thing, but like to add on to what he's saying. Like, he has it's a video called like the future of Pokemon ROM hacks, and I 100%, if you don't want to watch me react to it, go watch it on his channel. It came out like a month ago. It's like one of the most important videos that he has on this channel. Not to say his other videos aren't important, right? But like, it went alongside the We Don't Deserve ROM hacks video that Callum did, and the entitlement video that I did like a while ago. If you haven't seen those videos, you should probably go check them out. But this was great. This was beautiful. Everybody go subscribe to Airy, of course, because he covers content that me, Callum, and Voltsy probably won't like upload. Like a lot of the games that he like covers are games that like you just like see in the wild, or you're like, if you're somebody who like Googles a lot, like you'll see those random ass games that he'll give a critique on, where it's like, for us, I feel like we choose the ones that look cool to us, you know what I'm saying, or look dope to us, where he'll just cover anything. He'll cover slop, you know what I'm saying, because he does give his critiques. He does give his critique. But no, go check him out. Go support the official video. Obviously, go leave a like on that video. Go comment your thoughts and opinions on this video, but then also comment on this one too. To the Iridium creators, I am on my way. I'm gonna go to the gym. Y'all have a good one. Y'all be easy. Y'all have a decent one. Leave a like comment, subscribe. Talk to you in the next one. Bye. Love you guys.